From Atlanta,
where $21,000 a month to rent a midtown loft is actually quite reasonable.
It's the 9 Billion Names of Pod with Dan Bauman and Michael Reed. I'm Dan Bauman.
I do believe in spooks. I do believe in spooks. I do believe in spooks.
Right off the top, we're going to drop a spoiler alert because a movie came out that we have been kind of tracking and watching, waiting for. The Ghostbusters reboot, remake,
reimagining.
Okay.
I'm going to say reimagining. Now, going into seeing it, I wasn't quite sure what they were going to do, whether it's the old Ghostbusters handing over the deal, or maybe they picked it up years later. But apparently, the new Ghostbusters, all female leads, is a reimagining. The Ghostbusters coming into being from nothingness in the way it did in the first film, just with different people and in a different method.
Well, before we get into that, let's talk about the originals. Do you remember? Did you see it in the theaters? Do you remember? Was it that kind of?
I don't know. I was negative 8 years old then. So
yeah, no, you weren't.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't recall. I honestly don't recall if I saw it in the theaters or not. I mean, I saw it contemporaneously with a home video release, I'm sure.
Right.
Whether it was in the theaters or not.
Because I do remember a friend of my mom's used to watch us now and again, and she took us to see it, and I remember seeing it in the movie, and it was one of those things that it was one of those things that we didn't know what it was going to be. You know, I mean, I guess I didn't. You know, this was way before.
You're talking about the original.
The original.
Well, I think the trailer kind of gave it. You know, they showed him trying to wrestle around with a ghost and a few of the. You know, it was like, it was basically a paranormal comedy. Of course, back then we didn't have paranormal anything,
right? And we didn't see trailers. You know, we couldn't just watch them whenever the hell we wanted to. You know, I may have seen a commercial for it, and I think it was just like a thing where it's like, oh, I'm going to take the kids to this movie, and went and saw it, and it is one of those enduring classics. That's never going to go away.
But hasn't doing a reimagining destroyed the original? Because that's what happens every single time.
Yes, it has destroyed my childhood, and yes, I'm scarred for life.
Let's put this out here, folks. If somebody doing a remake or reimagining of one of your favorite films of your childhood, if it in any way tarnishes, destroys, harms, vexes your childhood, you need to reassess your formative years, because they obviously weren't as golden and great as you thought they were. If somebody doing something 20, 30, 40 years later.
Well, it's only because, you know, when the new movie came out, all the old copies of all the old movie, they spontaneously disappeared.
Well, that's what happens.
Yeah, it goes away. You can't have more than one version of it.
You know, the studio, which really sucked in the 80s when they tried to redo, and barely did redo Citizen Kane. I haven't seen the Orson Welles original in forever.
Yes, it's gone.
It's in memory only.
It's locked up, and you know, they'll come for your memories.
So I'm going to have to watch the Rocky Horror Picture Show over and over again before Fox broadcasts it.
And it evaporates into
and all of a
the
sudden
ethos.
like, whoosh, I remember this
film. There was this thing. We used to go to a place and and dress weird and stuff. But I just remember it was like one of those things, like kids in school were talking about it, and it just never went away. You know. Again,
I was in preschool at the time, so we were barely speaking at that. You know, we were just forming our syllables and our consonants. Yeah. Actually, I don't remember the phenomenon around the film as much as I do around the goddamn theme song. Yeah. That was the hugest. I mean, MTV, it's like, hey, we're going to play Phil Collins, Ray Parker Jr. Hey, look, another Phil Collins and Ray Parker Jr.
Yeah.
And here's a Genesis video to make it. And guess what? It's going to be Ray Parker Jr.
Well, that was one of those huge, giant tie-ins that, like, or might have been one of the first ones, like, to tie in with MTV and do that. Because, like, the video had the entire cast in it for the most part. It had all the Ghostbusters in it.
It had all the Ghostbusters in it, and you will remember there was a lot of other cameos in that video.
That's true,
and if you paid attention, you would realize, oh my God, they were on the set of like the last 3 John Hughes films. Because the cast of She's Having a Baby, I think, shows Ferris Bueller's in there. You know, you're like, oh, look, it's it's John Hughes extras and people who are on the set. I'm guessing that Ivan Reitman, he's got some clout.
Yeah.
He said, hey, we want to do some shenanigans on your set for a half a second and go around and,
we're doing this weird ghost
They got
movie.
Chevy Chase to do something.
Well, that was easy, yeah.
Well, because of, let's face it, it was, an SNL kind of based
More or
film-ish,
less, yeah.
which is what this film is as well.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I didn't
Three
even think about
three
that.
out of the 4 of the leads are SNL alums. The only one that's not is
Not
Melissa
alum,
McCarthy.
current. Leslie Jones and Kate
that's true,
McKinnon are
that's true.
current.
I
I
guess
watched them last night. As a matter of
Kristen Wiig is the one that has
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
She's striking in that she can look old and frumpy and young and sexy and all in between. She's kind of a chameleon in a way.
Completely, yeah.
Yeah, and but of course, who's my boo? Who's my boo from this film?
What? I don't know. Which one did you?
Come on, I know there's 2 you're going back and forth between in your head probably.
Yeah, it's either Leslie Jones or Kate McKinnon.
It's Kate McKinnon.
Me too. Yeah.
Holtzmann.
Yeah.
I kept watching her for her little reactions and just the stuff that came out of her mouth. It's like, wow, she talks like I talk. I don't understand it either, but I love it. It's just like quirky, weird, whatever the hell.
Yeah, I read this one review and they said she's kind of almost in her own movie within the movie. Like she's
Yes.
kind of on her own thing, just kind of going along with everybody.
And every once in a while, the other cast members like, oh yeah, got that.
But she was unbelievable. Like you could almost see that coming in the trailer, like the bits and pieces that they did. But she's kind of the I don't want to say anti, but the inverse Egon. I mean, she's the techie,
Yes.
and where Egon was so buttoned up and tight and straight laced, she's way out there.
Yeah,
on
that's true.
everything.
That's absolutely true. And I'm really glad when it came to Leslie Jones that they didn't play into that, over like, hey, sexy guy. The thing that she does in SNL, like 9 out of every 10 sketches about how big and overbearing she is and intimidates guys.
Well, that was one of my problems. Like we all kind of admitted, and I think can agree that the first trailer was really poorly put together. That one that really ignited the firestorms.
Right. The power of editing, people.
Yes.
Because I'm going on record now saying the Ghostbusters reimagining, it's not a masterpiece. It was an enjoyable film that I may watch again at some point. It certainly was not the train wreck that everyone predicted it would be.
I enjoyed the hell out of it.
And that just shows you the magic that goes on behind the scenes with editing. I mean, there's so many people that, that have their fingerprint on a film. Mm-hmm. You think the producer and the director, they helmet like, well, no, you need your cinematographer. And quite frankly, they can do all their jobs perfectly. And if the editor comes through and makes these bizarre, stupid decisions, then you have what was a masterpiece and it's cut to be a piece of crap.
Well, I've read that the trailers aren't even done in house. It's like a separate entity.
I don't know how much, because some of these big studios, I think I would like
that's
to
their only job. They take the footage, they make a trailer,
right.
they put
They
it
have
out.
it in house. It's under the.
But it's not
Sony.
done by the director.
Right, and that is something that can work both ways, because someone who hasn't been right in the heart of everything can look at the film and go, all right, there's the beats.
Yeah.
And I know we don't want to reveal that, and can come out with something. But you know what? If you're just a guy slobbing away like, here's another one, Ghostbusters, whatever, cut, fuck it, it's out there.
Yeah.
That's what,
Now, going back to the point I was going to make about that, the biggest disappointment in the trailer for me was Leslie Jones, because I went, great. All we need in this day and age is another sassy black character who's going to be this and that.
The stereotype that you're just going, really?
Right.
Haven't we gotten past that?
And she does enough of that for it to be funny, but she turns out to be a very valid member of the team. I was like, in the trailer, she has the line, I'm not big on this science stuff, and I was like, oh, great, that's all we need. But it turns out she's a New York historian, and she knows everything, and she's valid,
exactly,
and as smart as everybody else.
They didn't do the thing that they would have done, in years previous. Like, she's streetwise and sassy.
Yeah,
she's kind of dumb, but she has a street smart.
Right,
that's what the black woman brings. Like, oh,
yeah,
just
we didn't need that, but she was great. I thought she was really funny, and I guess if you look at it again, comparing to the original, Ernie Hudson wasn't that way either. He wasn't the jive turkey. He was just the solid dude. And I mean, there's all kind of legend and lore about the original script that I read a story that he was very disappointed because Winston Zeddemore was supposed to have this. He was supposed to be like a veteran. He was like a soldier, veteran. He was like had all this combat training, and he had this rich backstory of why he was doing this, and all that just got cut and gone like day one.
Yeah, and I can understand that because when you're looking at the arc of a film, that kind of information, unless it really pays off down the line, just weights down and slows down your narrative. So unless he whips out, like, you know, badass Green Beret shit 101 on Ghosts in Act 3,
Yeah.
knowing that about him in Act 1 is like, why am I hearing this? Come on, chop, chop, chop.
But I mean, they went too far the other way with it because he's got the line, "I'm just here for a paycheck."
Right, he's a cipher. It's like,
I can see that point, but at least he wasn't Chris Tucker or Chris Brown. No, Chris Tucker. He wasn't the crazy. The embarrassing. He was just a solid, good dude.
I'm 4'5" and I got to make up for it by talking
I'm loud,
like this.
And I'm jive turkey. He wasn't like that, and neither was Leslie Jones. I thought she was wonderful that way. But yeah, McKinnon just took it for me. I
gotta say, I was really expecting Melissa McCarthy to just dominate this thing. Did not dominate.
No,
she was a good ensemble member. If anyone edged out as a standout, it's Kate McKinnon
for sure,
who basically has been the new Kristen Wiig on SNL for like almost 3 seasons. Even when Wiig was still on there, the last year, I'm like, Kate McKinnon, She's fearless and she's got range like Kristen Wiig does. SNL will be just fine when Kristen Wiig leaves because they got Kate McKinnon and she
supposedly
delivered.
She was the first one Paul Feig cast.
Really?
Like I heard an interview with him. He said, "Yeah, I was watching SNL while I was writing the script, and he said, "Oh, she's got to be a Ghostbuster." And I think he did the same thing with Leslie Jones, and then the other two were just like, make the phone call, like, "Yeah, I think it needs to be you guys as well."
Well, and Melissa McCarthy's star has been rising since Gilmore Girls. I mean, she's been in a number. Bridesmaids, and
directed by Paul Feig. So that's
and that's why. And from what I understand, I think you were mentioning this that the reason. Well, we'll get into the cameos later.
Yeah.
Or now, fuck it.
Okay.
The reason we got Bill Murray in a cameo, in a rather extended cameo.
Yeah. Surprisingly enough, you would think he would be the one with the walk-on, walk-off one-day thing,
right.
But he actually had a character.
He had a character with actual dialogue and an extended presence, and I was very pleased to see that Bill Murray got what he wanted. Because
again, spoilers.
Right. There's been talk about a Ghostbusters 3 for like 15 years. I mean, Dan Aykroyd is always about going back to the past. I mean, he did Blues Brothers 2000 without Belushi.
Yeah.
That's really, you really want to do that film if you're willing to do a Blues Brothers film without 50% of the Blues Brothers.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, Bill Murray has been notorious for, he doesn't have an agent. He has a phone number and an answering machine.
Yeah.
And when he's feeling like he wants to do a thing, he'll start listening and go, maybe I'll call that person,
Yeah, so what was it, like 2 years ago? There were rumblings that, okay, we've kind of closed the deal and Murray is kind of signed on with stipulation.
Well, we heard that he was definitely out for back when, Harold Ramis was still alive. There was still talk about doing a Ghostbusters 3.
A legitimate 3.
Like a direct sequel to 2.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, Ghostbusters, they're getting on in age. Maybe they'll hand it off to another generation, as long as that generation doesn't include Shia LaBeouf. No. And one of the things that got out there was that Bill Murray was dragging his feet like, all right, I'll do it as long as I get killed off in Reel 1.
And get to be a ghost.
Right. Was it? Now, I didn't hear about the get to be a ghost part.
Sigourney Weaver, kind of wrecked that in an interview. She said, well, yeah, that's why I said I thought I'd heard rumblings because I saw the interview and they said, what's Ghostbusters 3? And she said, oh, well, close. We figured it out. We think we've got a great idea. Bill's going to be a ghost and this and that. And it was like, and everybody went, I think, face palm. Like, why would you
give away our big?
Or no, we haven't signed anything yet. It's not going to happen.
Sigourney.
And I wonder if it was still in development until Harold Ramis died. I don't know if
I personally think, from what I understood, is that Dan Aykroyd said, we're moving forward, Bill's not going to be a part of it, and they're moving forward. And then Harold Ramis died, and I think finally he said, all right, we're not doing this as with, me and Ernie Hudson. We're like, what the hell's that going to be?
Their party clown business they had in 2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not good. So they went another direction, and apparently it's the reimagining rather than a direct sequel, which is fine.
Yeah, I got to say, I was the best, because I've been thinking about it since last night, and I think the best way to describe it is there's enough nods to the original.
Oh, plenty of nods.
But
massive
but
nods.
it wasn't, it didn't, like, the criticism The Force Awakens got was, I don't know, it's the same goddamn movie as New Hope. I don't think it was that. I think it was its own thing. I think Ghostbusters...
Let's just say that the DNA of Force Awakens has the same paternal DNA.
No, absolutely.
And let's just say the mother is related to the original mother. I mean, it's close.
Yeah, of course. I just don't think Ghostbusters did that. I think it's definitely its own thing, and it was handled very, very well.
Yeah, but the bare bones of it.
Yeah, the skeleton is the same for sure.
Yeah.
And
that's fine. If you're reimagining, if you don't have the same or similar skeleton, then why is it even a reimagining? Do your own original unique
why
thing.
Is it Ghostbusters?
Right. I mean, that's like with the reboot of the Star Trek movie franchise. We know the skeleton. They took that skeleton and put it in another timeline so that certain things could come away, so they could do other things.
They did justify it.
Right. They justified it. So I'm still. They say there's going to be a fourth one.
Star Trek?
Star Trek. I'm like, what are you going to do? I mean, I guess you're going to just have to recast Sulu, or are you going to kill him off?
Not Sulu, Chekhov.
Oh, no, Chekhov, sorry.
Yeah.
Chekhov.
I don't know. That's one of those things where it's like, ooh, what do you do? But that's a whole other issue.
That's a whole nother hot dog cart full of Slimer food.
I was watching last night, and there was, I want to say, 3 really good laughs within the first minute. It starts out in a it's not a castle, but like a manor house in the Upper West Side of New York.
One of the old Ritchie places,
right? That's been turned into a museum, and evidently there was, the daughter was trapped in the basement because she had killed people and
locked in the basement.
Yeah,
locked in the basement.
And it was I forget his name, the guy who played Gabe on The Office. He was the tour guide,
and he's also on Silicon Valley right now. Right. He is comedy gold.
Yep, and he drops like 3 jokes, like throws them away right in the first minute of the thing, and I was like, okay, we're good, this is gonna be okay. And I think the structure, the way they did it, was perfect because it was him doing the tour, a bunch of stuff happens, and he ends up in the basement, and you don't see the ghost, and then the music starts, and it was I think when the Ghostbusters theme started, they used almost identical shots from the original. Like that pan across the city, and it looked to me like they did exactly beat for beat like the original.
Could be. They did a little mini Gus Van Sant, Hitchcock Psycho remake just for the opening credits. Like, like we'll do it shot for shot, right with the same thing.
We'll give them what they want and make sure, because that's like so subtle, but subconsciously it's there. People know that the beginning of that movie.
It's tapping into their nostalgia gene. Let it release its delicious hormones to inoculate you against going, hey, that's not,
And then it immediately changes to something else because it was Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy are not together like Egon, Ray, and like all 3 of them. Really, they in the original they were all colleagues and working on their.
Did you notice in I think it's in Melissa McCarthy's Abby Yates in her workroom, or what do you call it, lab? Remember all the equations on the board?
Yeah.
at the top, written out in equation language, but if you look at it long enough, you can see it says something along the lines of paranormal investigation lab or something, which is the name of the original lab from the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And it's written out in, with like parentheses and dashes and stuff. I'm going, all right.
Yeah.
They're already dropping the...
Yeah, there were plenty of little Easter eggs and plenty of... I think the most beautiful thing in the whole movie was there was a scene in Kristen Wiig's office, and she's getting grilled. She's about to get tenure at the university she works at.
From a Lannister.
Yeah. And
Charles Dance.
And he drops some line, and he walks out of the office, and in the hallway there was a bust of some physicist who was there, and it was Harold Ramis. Yeah. And it was beautiful. It was just note perfect.
And there's a couple of Twinkie references in there.
Were there?
Remember the big Twinkie? That's a big Twinkie.
Yeah.
Just in the background stuff.
Yep.
That's if you're looking for it, or if you read a list after you've seen it.
Did you read? Yeah.
I'm not saying. I'd say about maybe 15%, because I haven't seen the original in since I was in preschool.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, see, it's that's one of those that's on all the time. So it's one of those I gotta watch the whole thing.
I cannot watch. The only time I will ever watch a movie on television, on broadcast or non-pay cable TV, is if I know that there are extra scenes they put in to pad it out for commercials or for content, like Fast Times at Ridgemont High. The whole fucking in the pool house. You can't have that on broadcast TV, so there's other stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I will watch it then, because that's not been released on DVD as extra scenes or whatever.
That's weird.
But most of the time, it's chopped up. Talk about editing poorly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's something that directors don't have, control over.
At all.
I mean, I'm guessing now there's a thing where they will shoot extra scenes for broadcast, but whether they have control over what the edit is for broadcast. We have a 92-minute film, and we need an extra 5 minutes, but we need to take out this for content and to get it to that magic amount of time so that we could show it in a 2-hour block. I'm guessing most directors don't have the authority to, or the power to, maybe not even the interest, to go and whip up an edit that is good for broadcast TV, that maintains their vision and doesn't, destroy what they were trying to put together.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how prevalent it is, but if I were a film director, I'd be like, all right, we have the director's version. We have the version that we do to get it to R in the theater. Then I want to have the version that will be shown on television, or that's shown on airplanes or whatever.
Yeah. That
I still have control over the edit, so it isn't butchered, and people who are seeing it for the first time on TV go, this movie sucks. What's missing? I don't get this. Because some guy who's in a movie house like, hey, chop this down to, 94 minutes, take out the boobs at 2 minutes, 50 seconds, and the sex scene at an hour 10, and then do it.
Yeah.
And they don't have any stake in it. They don't give a flying fuck.
Yeah.
So,
Well, with the original Ghostbusters, the only thing they would cut out is for time. There's nothing.
Yeah, there's
nothing.
It's
this one as well. There was nothing
PG,
really.
I don't think I didn't notice any prevalent language at all.
I heard shit once because I was listening.
My guess is I think you have an allotment of certain shits.
You get I think 3
shits and maybe one fuck
I think.
in a PG.
Yeah, or a PG-13. I didn't even notice what it was rated, this movie.
Neither do I.
I mean, it had to have been PG-13 because I don't think it was R at all.
Oh God, no. Oh no.
There's no reason for it.
There's no reason for it. Could you imagine? No. Although some of the comedy, the recording of the flatulence.
Yes.
Would that change anything if I told you it came from the front?
Yeah.
And that's a joke that the boys in the original could not have done.
No.
So just a little touch of the bridesmaids. That little, women can get down and get stupid, naughty, dirty, whatever.
And you could tell. I think there was especially in Paul Feig's movies, you can see the improv bits that just happened. I think that was one of them. I think that just dropped out of Kate's mouth. And I read an interview with her and Paul Feig, I think, as well, and they both said that's kind of just her. Like, this is the closest character she's ever played to actually herself. You know, she's that kind of like no filter and just says whatever she thinks and is on kind of her own frequency.
And that's why she will be mine.
Yeah. I don't. I don't think she. No.
No, she's funny and she's a looker. Good for her.
Yeah.
Well done, Kate. Continue on, please. Please become a huge star.
Yes. I after this, I think she will. I mean,
and here's the thing. I tell you, there's scrolling through my Facebook feed today, tons. I mean, more than just about any other film short of Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, went and saw Ghostbusters. Going to see Ghostbusters. Yeah. Ghostbusters was great. Everybody relax. It was okay.
Yeah, I saw a lot of that today. Like, hey, that was great. It was a lot of fun.
I haven't seen anything negative like, well, that sucked. I haven't seen anything that said, wow, better than the original. Mainly, It's been, I had an enjoyable time. It did not,
it was super fun, super funny, and
man, let's get back to these cameos, shall we?
Okay.
Which I doth dig. Now remember, spoilers, seriously, because there's one or two where you're like, and if you hear about them now, they're not going to have the same kick.
Yeah.
So this is for listening after you've seen the film.
Yes.
Or if you're just that kind of person who wants to have everything spoiled for you because life is an unbearable procession of disappointment and anger.
That's on you.
That's completely on you. We bear no responsibility for that.
Yep.
Now, we talked about Bill Murray.
Yep. Well, we didn't say who he was.
Oh, he played Martin Heiss.
Yeah, they were talking about a famous debunker of ghost myths and all that.
So basically, he is the opposite of Peter Venkman.
Exactly.
Peter Venkman was like, "Hey, ghost, hey, cha. I was like, no, and he didn't even break into anything Venkman like. It was the exact opposite of Venkman.
Very straight laced and very buttoned up.
Yes, very. He didn't, go into. He wasn't playing it for laughs
Not
at all.
all.
He was the straight man.
Right.
And he doesn't believe that they've captured a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
They happen to have captured their first ghost, a big dragon motherfucker.
Yeah, that was odd, but
what that dragon did to Ozzy's face. Oh, no, that was plastic surgery.
Oh zing.
Sharon! and now they're getting a divorce, so that whole line.
Yeah. Oof.
Hey, good on Sharon, because she can be a real pain in the ass, but what Ozzy has put her through since the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
She should have left like 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And, putting on your dress and pissing on the Alamo, usually that's grounds for maybe a separation.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. The one time I met him was during his I found out later, majorly coked out phase.
Oh, I didn't even know you
and stood in line at Tower Records.
I've done that.
And I got pictures of me not with Ozzy, but I took he's posing and doing his stuff, and he's just didn't seem manic at all. He was just doing his thing, And I looked at those pictures like, my God, less than 5 years ago you were in the original fucking Black Sabbath. Damn, I could smell the Sabbath funk on you still. That's history, Yep. It's like, I got to see Led Zeppelin on their very last tour or some bullshit like that someone, like, wow, you got to see them? Mm-hmm. So, anyway, they capture the demon, bring it back to their place above a Chinese restaurant,
which was pretty funny.
Yeah. The subplot with the soup. That
was pretty great.
Yeah. It's not worth explaining to you. Just enjoy it.
It was pretty funny. Yeah,
when you see the film. So essentially, he goads them into releasing the demon again.
Yeah.
So he could see it, and they got their packs ready to put it right back in. And of course, it didn't exactly work out that way. The demon, shreds a few things and then carries him out the window, and he drops to his death.
Yes.
And that was it.
Yep.
And that's Bill Murray getting his reel one. I don't know. Was it more than 20 minutes in?
Yeah, it was real
it
too,
was.
for sure.
It's real too. But still, he got his death.
Yeah.
So happy
Still
for him.
First act, I would say, of the movie. No, second act probably.
Yeah,
second
because
act.
once you once you arrive at the concert hall, you're starting your second act.
True.
Because you've already had your setup. Now is your building, your
Yep.
conflict and stuff like that. So, what I was really disappointed was when they brought him into the women into the mayor's office. they could have so deftly added something about dogs and cats living. If that was in there, I would have fell the fuck out. I would have been like, this is my new god. I love this film. There were so many openings like, oh, are they going to do it? Oh, they didn't do it.
Well, they may have on purpose like avoided it.
I
It's
know.
such a iconic line.
It's the iconic. Think of what's more iconic from the original Ghostbusters. There is no
slimed
Dana,
me.
only Zool.
Yeah,
he
he
slimed me.
slimed me. But that's the line everyone quotes.
Dogs and cats living together.
Mass hysteria. She does. Somebody says mass hysteria, and I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, they get dogs and cats.
It's kind of like waiting in Force Awakens. Like, is somebody going to say, "May the Force be with you"? We had to wait till like literally the last 7 minutes.
Yeah.
To hear Leia say it to Rey.
Yeah.
Like going, all right, well, we got it.
Or I've got a bad feeling about this. The other.
No, for me, the best, the whole, we'll use the Force. That's not how the Force works. Oh, you're cold.
Yeah.
That right there, I'm like, thank you. That's all I
Again,
needed.
Chewie, the best lines in the movie. But anyway.
Anyway, yes, everything leads back to Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
As we all know. Next up from the original crew, Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, I thought, honestly, I thought it was the weakest cameo of all of them.
Oh, it barely registered as anything.
Yeah.
Basically, Dan Aykroyd played a cab driver, which is a bit of a throwback because remember we had the ghost cab driver from the original. Remember?
Yeah.
Polk, and it was the corpse looking.
Yeah.
He was dressed exactly the same. So it's a and he goes, no, that's like one street more than I want to go, and that's very New York. I'm like,
I don't go to Queens.
Yeah, exactly.
That's trust me. I've had that guy.
and then he does what he thinks is a mic drive, like, I'm not afraid of no ghost, and then drives off.
And I was like,
all right. Hey, he appeared.
yeah.
You'd
think he would have gunned for the bigger part, for the Murray part.
Yeah,
because
he's an executive producer, and he's the one that's been cheerleading this thing
forever.
I'm surprised he hasn't tried to do Driving Miss Daisy Part 2. Like every film he's in was successful.
Bully's Revenge.
Yeah, exactly. That was successful. Let's do another one.
Yeah.
Come on, you know. Which I kind of mock a bit, but I'm kind of the same way in that I'm nostalgic as fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the one who did the reunion of my old Rocky crew years later. I'm the one who got the old band back together to do a reunion show. So it's not that I'm impervious to feelings of nostalgia.
But I'm totally with that. I think, with these properties and these characters, there's always stories to tell, and we want to stay with them, and we want to keep going with them.
Well, let's just hope. We'll get to where this could go because
we'll get there.
We'll get there. After that, we got. Well, actually, we're going kind of out of chronological order in the film because Aykroyd was after all the ghosts had been released.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
but before that, at the
one that surprised me,
the Mercado, the one that I loved, probably my second favorite, Annie freaking Potts.
Yep. Yeah.
What do you want?
What do you want? She got it in there. It was perfect.
And I'm just like, oh, Annie. She's actually like kind of ancient and still looks
beautiful, yeah.
Gorgeous.
She was
she was big not big, but she was doing stuff in the 70s.
Right. Oh, and, yeah.
It wasn't.
Here's the thing I noticed. I think I've told you this before. We went to for birthday, I think, or Valentine's Day, they did a screening, the Fathom Events thing, of Pretty in Pink with Annie Potts.
Tracks, what do you want?
Exactly. I can't imagine that was an accident. Because was that after or was that before?
Oh, that was way after.
It was way after?
Pretty in Pink was 86?
87?
Late 85, 86. I'm going to say 86.
So Ghostbusters 84 was first.
Right. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, it has to be a nod, right? It has to be
I don't know.
Was it a John Hughes
or maybe that's just her thing.
I don't know. It struck me. I was like, that's exactly what she says in Ghostbusters. Exactly.
You know what? We should talk to Topher because he's watched every episode of Designing Women, which Annie was in. I'm like, does she do the what do you want thing even once? And he would know.
Okay.
I'm like, we'll have to find out about that.
And she got it in. I was going to say, we were at the Cobb Energy Center one night, and
Cobb Energy Center, for those of you that are not in Atlanta, is the CDC that got blowed up in Walking Dead.
Yeah.
It's also a performing arts center
and beautiful. And we went and saw Kristen Chenoweth there, and Annie Potts was in the audience.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is she a local girl?
I guess. I don't know. She just happened to be there. I guess maybe she's local, but I really, really wanted to, if I'd seen her in the lobby or something, and people, I really wanted to, like, just come up to her and go, sorry about the bug eyes thing, and just keep going. Janine, yeah, sorry about the bug eyes thing. To see if she got it, because I read one time that Kurt Russell was on an elevator one time, and he said this is his favorite fan interaction he ever had. He was on an elevator one time, and the guy behind him just went, feeling kind of invincible. And he said he loved it. He said it was just such a great...
See, that's a double-edged sword, because there are others that are like, if I
made that movie 40 years ago, God damn it.
Well, it's like Kirk on SNL, or like Shatner on SNL. It's like, guys, I did it as a lark, as a thing, like 30 years ago, and you treat it like it's the Holy Grail. Get a life.
Yeah, it's dicey, but if it hits, it's
right, because there's some actors who are like, for the ones that people really like, they may keep retaining those lines a bit longer, maybe have watched it but in some actors, like, I do a film and then I'm done.
Yeah,
I finish my press junket and I never think about that film again. Right. I don't go to the conventions that spring up. I don't do fuck all for it.
But some of them do.
Yeah. I'm sure Pacino at some point, kind of got sick of going hoo-ah, to everybody on the street in New York. Mm-hmm. Although maybe in New York they wouldn't ask him to do that. Natives, the people coming into town, is like, hey, look, it's the hoo-ha guy. Like, that's right, 30-year Academy Award-winning body of work, and it's been reduced to me saying hoo-ha. Oh. Yeah. But you know what? Hey, for every person who's lamenting having to go hoo-ha, there's like 10,000 actors like, let me have a hoo-ha line. Anyway. I'll take a hoo-ha line. Yeah. I'll But anyway, back to the film. So Annie Potts, just real quick. I mean, I'd say less than probably 15 seconds of screen time.
Yeah, she was the concierge, I want to say, or
or the front desk person,
captain or something.
But it looked like she was more like a manager, not like just like a chick at the counter. Yeah. Like she had some gravitas, like she had some pull there. And of course, towards the end of the film, the hearse that they had been driving around in.
The whole movie, Leslie Jones is talking about, I got my uncle's car, right. in the hearse that Holtzmann turns into Ecto-1.
Right.
And
takes a borrowed hearse, and spray paints it white, puts the logo on it,
puts the nuclear reactor on the top,
because hey, they're already dead. Who cares if there's nuclear radiation going down there? They'll be fine.
Yep. And I didn't see it coming. Did you?
I saw it coming literally 1 second.
Yeah, as the hearse drove up at the end,
and I went, "Oh, this is going to be Ernie Hudson."
And there he was.
Because I knew Ernie Hudson was going to show up. It's not like oh no, I'm too much above this.
No, the only one we knew for sure who didn't show up was Moranis. He was like,
and of course Harold Ramis.
Well, of course,
because he passed away before.
But he was even in it. So
and his son was actually. I want to say he was on stage at the concert, at the metal concert.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I read that he got a little. Hat,
cool.
A little hat tip in there, and so that was good. But then you're thinking to yourself, well, we've accounted for everybody, but there's one person that was integral. I mean, a major, above the title.
I actually, the credits.
And I had heard nothing about it. Yeah. I had no idea. I hadn't even thought like, oh, we're missing this person.
Yeah, and I looked over to Courtney. I was like, did I miss her cameo? Did I miss Sigourney Weaver's cameo?
You didn't.
I didn't.
Because... Hey, we didn't run out of time, but I got to blow my nose, and I think it's going to be more than 50% ectoplasm, so we're going to give you part 2 next week.
The 9 Billion Names of Pod was conceived, written, and performed by Michael Reed and Dan Bauman, with Abdul Beni Hassan as the sound of splintering wood. Research, transportation, and exasperated looks by Courtney Lohner. Technical assistance by Cubase, Pro Tools, Skynet, QLab, Deep Thought, Big Brother, and Eddie, your shipboard computer. Financial consideration provided by the Wayne Foundation, Stark Industries, the Prana Brothers, and LexCorp. Legal counsel by the Office of Howard and Fine. Somebody blows their nose and you want to keep it? Our intro music was written by Tim Akers. This podcast was sponsored by Deep Shag Records and its production of Audio Primate. Throw us a couple stars on iTunes, why don't you? Check us out on dadsgarageradio.net. Listen, watch on YouTube, listen on SoundCloud, stream us on Stitcher, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or email us, comlink@billionpod.com. Till this happens again, I'm Dan Bauman.
I'm Michael Reed.
LOC.
Audio Primate.